Hey, it's Chris with PhotoDabbler.com. In this video, we're just going to create a really simple poster that you can put. Football's getting ready to start. Maybe you took a picture of your kid and playing football, and you just want to turn it into a nicer looking, customized type poster type deal. All right, so we need to basically start a new file, right? So this one here, we're just going to do 10 inches wide by 8 inches tall. All right, so width 10, and you can do this in pixels too if you want. I just have it in inches, so it's going to be 8 by 10, but flipped landscape wise. So 10 width, 8 height, 300 resolution, color mode RGB, black background sRGB is the color profile, and we're just going to hit create. So now that we have our background layer, now you can do this a different way too. You could actually just do a solid color and then change it to black, hit OK, and then name it background. Just double click on the text and just call it background color. Do that, and then we can click on this one and drag it to the trash to delete it. And then that way, if you want to change your color, maybe at the end you don't want it black, you want it red or green or yellow, orange, whatever, you can change your color. Alright, okay, so now we want to add, we're just going to add the numbers and the last name. Alright, so we're going to go over to our type tool, horizontal type tool. Now the font that I'm going to use for the numbers is from Creative Cloud. It's called Alpharn, A-L-F-A-R-N, and I'll put a link in the description below. Let's change our color to white so we can see what we're doing. And I'm just going to click somewhere in the center. I have my alignment here on the center, so somewhere in the center we're going to type in here, and it's really big, and the player's number is 89. Alright, so we type in 89, hit enter, and I want to make sure this is perfectly aligned in the center. So if I go up to my move tool up here is some options for alignment. Align to canvas. You can align to selection or align to canvas. Make sure it's on canvas, and we're just going to click the center one here and the center one here. So now it's perfectly in the middle, and now we want to scale it up. Alright, so we could come over here and scale it up this way just by dragging, or the easier way for me is Control or Command T, and then hold down your Alt or Option key and drag on one of the outer handles. And it's gonna make it, we'll make it about this size here. Alright, so now we want to apply some layer effects to this. So we want to stylize this. So what we're going to do here is double click on this layer, or you can click your effects down here. I find it easier just to double click, and your layer styles will come up here in this pop-up menu. Alright, so make sure we're on blending options here at the top. Under advanced blending, we're going to take our fill opacity all the way down to 0. So it looks like basically it disappeared. Alright, but it's still there. We're going to hit bevel and emboss, and I actually already, from my last project, I had it kind of set up to how I want it already, but let's reset it to default. We'll start over. Alright, so our style is going to be under bevel, technique is smooth. Depth, we're going to drag to like 250-ish. Our size, we want to mess with this. Now different fonts will behave a little differently. So this one here we're going to make about 16 roughly. Soften we're going to leave at 0 for now, but we may have to come back to that. Global light, we can turn that off, but just leave it as is at 90 and 30. Then we're going to change our gloss contour. Our gloss contour, if you click this little arrow drop down, there's some different gloss contours that you can apply to it. If you click on this first one, which is what it is, you can use your arrow keys to cycle through the different ones. Alright, so I know we're going to use this one here, this double ring, but you can cycle through to different ones. Alright, so we're on our double ring here. And I want to bring my highlight mode all the way up to 100. Alright, so it's kind of shiny. But you see kind of this little jaggediness in lines here. If we take our soften and actually one cleaned it up pretty good. If you go more, it kind of erases the effect. But like soften, you can click over here in this box too and just use your arrow up key. 1 or 2 should do it, maybe 3. Alright, so we're going to leave it at this. Alright, so now that we have this effect done, we want to go down to inner glow. Alright, so we're going to add an inner glow to it. I'm going to reset this to default. And we have our blend mode on screen. And opacity right now is 35%. And that's, I know that's what I want to end up with, but if it's on 100 or whatever, it's gonna make it behave a little bit differently. Alright, so as you see, if you drag it up to 100, it adds more on the bottom. Alright, so I know I want it to be 35, so I can just type in 35 there. And the color, we're going to use not a solid color, but the gradient one. Alright, so you click on this, it's white now, but the football jersey that I have is going to be green. So we're going to change this color stop here. Just click on it, and then you have your color here. Just click on this, and we're going to change it to green. And we can change this a little bit later too. So we have our color at green. We're going to hit OK. Alright, so it's just putting a little glow on it, so just an inside glow. And you see if we crank it all the way up, you can see what it's doing. Alright, so this is full opacity at 100. Alright, bring our size down to about 50, 40, right in that area, and then we can just take this down a little bit. Take it all the way down, it's not going to show anything. And just kind of mess with it till you get the look that you want. And I think I lied, instead of 35, I'm going to leave it at like 63. So we have that. Now we want to do an outer glow, but first I want to copy this color. So I'm going to use the same color again. So we click on our color stop, click on the color, and here's our little hexacode. If we just right click on that and hit copy, it'll copy it to our clipboard so we can use that same color again. Or you can write it down, whatever you want to do. Now let's go to outer glow. Outer glow, blend mode screen, opacity is 14%. And then our gradient here, let's change our color to what we just used. And actually, let's make it brighter. Maybe like so. And we can mess around with our size too. Yeah, something like this. Alright, so play with your sliders, but this is where we are now. So 14 on opacity, that same green color, our spread is 18%, our size is 32, and our contour is just the same, but you can play around with those two and it'll create different effects. Alright, so we're done with this text. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Alright, so we have our number text now. So now I want to make a last name. So we can do it a couple different ways. We can just duplicate this one and change the text, which would probably be the easiest way, because all our effects are on there already. So if we just hit Control or Command J, it's going to make a copy. And then we can double click in this little bar here. Okay, that's going to change, let us be able to change the text. So if we just hit backspace and we type in the last name, we'll just say last name is Jeffers. It's not really, we just made it up. Alright. So obviously this is way too large, so we want to make it small, but we know it's already centered. But just to double check, make sure you're on your move tool, hit your 3 dots, make sure it's on canvas, center and center. Okay, it was off a little bit. Alright, let's hit Control T and we hold down Alt and scale it down. Alright, so now that's in our document like this. I think I want to make it larger up and down. So we hold down our Shift key, we can drag it up a little bit, and then grab this bottom one and drag it down a little bit. So it's like that, and I'm going to kind of get it so it's a little bit above the letters there, and you can use your up and down arrow keys to finagle it to where you want it. Okay, maybe something like so. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to cut out the Jeffers into the 89. Alright, so I want to make it so like these where you see this 8 shining through. Okay, we could bring up the fill on the name to take care of that, but that's not the look that we want. We want it all kind of see-through. Alright, so the easiest way to do that is if you click on Jeffers with Control or Command, and you click on here, it's going to select that. It's going to select that text. Okay. Then click on your 89, hold down Alt, and click on your mask. And it kind of indents into that text. Okay, so that's the look that I want. Alright, so if we undo that, and just kind of go through this again because it's kind of confusing sometimes. Control or Command click on the name, and then click on the number, hold down Alt or Option, and click on your mask. Now you have this result. Okay, so it's kind of embedded into the number. Alright, so looks alright. Now if I wanted to make this number larger, we might run into an issue. So if I hit Control T and expand it out, it totally messes up the mask, right? So you Control Z. The easy fix to that is to unlink the mask. Alright, so click on this little chain icon, it unlinks the mask, and now I can size up the numbers and the mask will remain the same, so it won't look so goofy. Alright, and I might like this a little bit better with it larger. Totally personal preference. You can mess around with this stuff. But once you have it sized, you can go ahead and click that link to turn that back on. Alright, so now we have both of our text layers. So 89 and then the last name. So I'm going to select this, hold down Shift, and select both of these, and I'm going to put them into a group. So we'll just name this group name and number. So there we have our little backgrounds, we'll call it. Now we want to place our image into this. Alright, so go to File, go to Place Embedded, grab wherever your image is. I have this just a downloaded image I took. Alright, and we're going to place this on the canvas. But we need to cut it out because it just has a solid white background. So we need to get rid of the white. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit enter so it is on there. Or check mark. Commit transform. Alright. So to remove the white background, let's scale it up first a little bit. I want to make them bigger. So Control T. If you hold down Alt and drag them up to the size that we want them, And we're just kind of guesstimating the center. That looks pretty good. Alright, so I want to get rid of the white. So probably the easiest way would be, let's go ahead and rasterize this because it's the size I want. Let's go ahead, right click, and rasterize layer. Alright, so we could click on remove background. That will work. But since it's all basically solid white, we can just use our magic wand tool. We have our magic wand tool, 11 by 11 average. Let's change this to like a 3 by 3, and then let's make our tolerance really low, like 5. Alright, and then we'll just click on the background. Alright, so it did a pretty good job selecting everything. There's a spot here we need to fix, here, and maybe a little bit in the shoe. So let's go ahead and grab our lasso tool. It's over here, you can hit L. And now up here, we want to change this to subtract from selection. So I'm gonna hit Control plus to size this up a little bit. And I'm just gonna drag right here with my lasso tool. And then right here on the number, just a real quick cleanup. And obviously this is not a perfect cutout, but it will work. When you do yours, make sure you spend the time and cut it out a little bit nicer than this. This is just so I don't spend 10 minutes cutting something out. Now we want to mask it, so we'll hit our mask button. It did the total opposite of what we wanted, so we should have hit Alt and click the mask, but that's okay. We can just invert the mask by hitting Control or Command I. So now we have our player in there, and actually it looks okay, but there are some lines down here that we could have fixed. Alright, but good enough for what we're doing for this tutorial. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply layer mask. Alright, so now that we have that cut out, we could make a copy of it, hit Control or Command J, and then on the bottom one we'll hit Control T and maybe slide it out a little bit. Do that, hit enter, and let's go ahead and add a hue saturation. Let's clip it by hitting that arrow, bring our saturation down, bring our lightness down, and then bring our opacity down. You don't have to do this, it's just an extra step. Alright, so if you don't like it, you can just turn it off. Alright, so basically that is our little, very simple design. We'll go ahead and click on our background. Let's add a new layer, and behind this all, we are just going to put some smoke. Alright, so we're going to go and grab our brush tool, and in our brushes, let's see here, I want to use dust brushes, and I downloaded these from Envato. I'll put a link in the description to them. Let me go ahead and grab this one and make sure we're on white, and make it a little bit bigger, and just one little dab like that. Alright, so last thing, I think we'll just put his name and maybe the year on there. So let's go ahead and hit new layer. New layer, there you go. And then our type tool. And our type tool, we want to use, I don't understand why it's, I think because this 89 is so big that it thinks that we want to click on this. So just make sure you click outside to where the box goes around it. See how the box is going around it? And we can move this around, it's not a big deal. So let's go ahead and type in, we'll just call him Jason. Make sure I did capital J, small a, S-O-N. Alright. So now we have that. Let's hit Control T and we can drag this down here, and let's hold down Alt or Option, make it smaller, like so. Go like this, and then hit Enter, and then we can change our font up here or over here in the character panel. We're going to change it to a font called Alfresco Regular. That's from Adobe Fonts. There we have it. And then I'm going to hit Control J to duplicate that. Double click on the T, and we're going to change this to 2023. So 2023. And hit Control T, hold down Shift, and we'll drag it down a little bit. Hold down Alt, and we'll just make it smaller. And we'll line it up best we can, like so. And then these two we'll go ahead and group. So click on the top one, hold down Control or Command or Shift, because they're right on top of each other, will work. And just put them in a group. And we'll just call this name, or first name, and the year. Hit Enter. And now let's hit Control T. Let's drag this over here a little bit, and then hold down Shift, and we'll rotate it maybe 15 degrees. Or 30. This will be okay. And there you have it. Alright, so I think that's done. Just a nice little simple design that you can print out. Okay, one last tweak though. One last tweak. Alright, so the smoke in the background, okay, I like that. It's going to stay like that. But the name and number, I want to use something. I want to change it up a little bit. So above, click on your name and number here, and this is totally optional. You don't have to do it. We're just playing around now. If we go down to our adjustment layers, let's go on color lookup. And this color lookup, I only want it to affect the name and number, so I'm going to clip it. Alright, so you can click on your little button here. Alright, now I want to go into these LUTs, and I want to change this to night from day. Alright, and I just did that little look to it. Alright, you can mess around with opacity too, but I wanted to darken it down to this type of look. Alright, so just a little tweak, and you can mess around with these too. Like you can change it to edgy amber if you wanted to, and it makes that look. I mean, that looks pretty cool too. Or you can just, if this thing is highlighted, you can just cycle through with your down and up arrows until you find something that you like. Kind of Foggy Night looks pretty cool. Just like once you're done with something, just keep going through. There might be something else that you like better. That looks pretty cool. Moonlight and night from day are theoretically really close to each other. Soft warming, teal orange plus contrast, tension green. Alright, so night from day I liked, and I actually liked that Foggy Night. Looked pretty cool. Yeah, kind of changed the smoke a little bit though. Alright, we're going to leave it at night from day. Alright. So that's that, and then you would just go to File. You can save it as a PSD file, or you can just save a copy, save it as a JPEG or a PNG to print out. Oh yeah, if you wanted to change your background color, you can still do that at the end. I'm going to leave it black, obviously, but if we went to, I don't know, maybe this blue, but went all the way in the dark blue. Do that, or maybe we could go in the green. The green's a little bit. Just put that little bit of tint to it, but me personally, I like the black. Alright, so that's that. So anyway, so this is what I want right here. Just a simple 89, his number, his last name, him, some smoke, and his first name and the year 2023. And there you have it. So really something you can create in about 5 or 8 minutes, not 30 like this video is. But if this helped you, maybe hit the like button and subscribe. I'll do more videos as I can, and thanks for watching.